If you're looking for a hurry up tomorrow movie review from somebody that really knows The Weeknd, this video is probably not for you. I didn't even know the guy's real name was Abel until the opening credits of this movie, so I'm very behind. But I do know Trey Edward Shults, an amazing director who I've been waiting about 6 years to drop a new movie at this point because I liked Krisha. I remember really liking It Comes at Night, but I am super overdue for a rewatch of that movie. I know I really liked it, but I forget pretty much everything that happened. But that doesn't matter because Waves is one of my favorite movies of the 2010s decade. And there are so many amazing things about that movie, but the way Trey uses music to help develop the characters specifically is such an interesting idea. And the moment I Am a God is needle dropped in that movie, it was one of the biggest oh shit moments for me while watching a film in a theater in a very long time. So if there was a director out there that should collaborate with a musician that makes music that feels as cinematic as The Weeknd, I don't think you could have hired a better choice for this specific project. And sure, I'm not a diehard fan of his music, but he has so many undeniable bangers throughout the course of the past like 15-ish years. His Universal Horror Nights house was my favorite one of that Halloween season. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I dislike The Weeknd. I'm just not in the know as much as a lot of other people. And my biggest question going into the theater was, what is this movie? Because for people like me that don't know The Weeknd, the film has the same title as his most recent album. So I really went into this thinking that there was a chance this was going to be like a full-length album visual feature thing and that it wasn't really a movie. It was just going to be all the songs from the album played in order with some story beats, which I know nothing about. And should I have done more research before going into this theater? Probably. But after seeing the movie, from what I can tell, this is a pretty self-contained story talking about The Weeknd's experience of being an artist. And The Weeknd is playing The Weeknd in the movie. They don't make up another pop star's name or anything. Like, The Weeknd is a character in the film, and it really is this nightmarish dive into a lot of the things going on in the most recent parts of his career. From what I could tell from a little bit of research, there's some connections between things that happened during certain concerts and during parts of his life that make it into this movie. And if you're a diehard fan, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Hurry Up Tomorrow is going to be his last album under the name The Weeknd, and if he goes on to make more music after this, it's going to be under his official Abel name. I don't want to give too much of the story away if you do have intentions of seeing the movie, because I will talk spoilers at the end of this video, but this film has gotten a lot of hate since it came out. It flopped at the box office. People said it was one of the worst movies of the year, and I feel like I have to talk about why I kind of enjoyed it. But just know, if you're not into music like me, and when I say not into music, I'm saying I don't listen to lyrics, I just listen to beats and think, oh yeah, this one's good. So if you're in that kind of camp like me, I think Hurry Up Tomorrow does a good job of just introducing anybody that wants to watch a fun enough movie. But it does get held back by some things that really make me hesitate of being like, oh, you have to watch this. Like, to me, if you are into The Weeknd or you had some mild interest in this kind of thing, I think it is worth watching. It's been about a month since I've seen the film at this point, but it's still sticking in my mind, and a lot of the things I really like about it are still with me. And to anybody that says this is the worst movie of the year, I beg you to go sit through Snow White. And if you think Snow White is a better movie, you've got some serious problems going on in your life. So let's talk about what I really love about this movie. And I think the thing that makes me like it as much as I do is not necessarily that it's quote unquote a good movie, but I think it is an incredible tech demo for Trey Edward Shults and Chase Irvin, the cinematographer. Like, it's just two guys flexing how good they are at visual storytelling. Just to be clear, I haven't seen a lot of Chase Irvin's work up to this point. I've only seen this and Black Klansman, but he did work on Beyonce's Lemonade, which I know a lot of people praised when it came out in terms of its visuals. And honestly, when I was watching Hurry Up Tomorrow, I had just assumed that Trey was collaborating once again with Drew Daniels, who worked on his previous 3 movies with him. And the reason I assumed that was because there were so many shots in this specifically connected to Waves that just felt kind of the same. Like, they really loved the 360 car spinning shot that Children of Men did, and they do it a lot in this movie. But I guess Drew was busy shooting the Best Picture winner Anora at the time, so he wasn't free in his schedule. And I think Chase was the perfect person to step up for this film because it looks visually incredible. And it all starts with shooting on film. And I know it's been a bigger topic of conversation recently where people say you can't tell the difference if something was shot digitally or on film. A lot of those people also say that shooting on film is a waste of money. And I'll be the first to admit, when I first started watching movies, I personally couldn't tell the difference. It's just as I've watched so many more movies, you can instantly feel when something is shot on film. And I get it is a pain in the ass to shoot. I get it is way more expensive, but if you have the means to pull it off, it looks beautiful, especially on a big Dolby screen. But just because you shoot on film isn't a guarantee that the movie is going to look good. You still need great lighting. You still need great composition. Everything that fills a great frame is still needed. You can't just shoot bullshit on film. And that being said, this entire department absolutely nailed everything visual going on in this movie. It is the one aspect of this film that is undeniably great. And if somebody comes out of this being like, yeah, there was nothing visually interesting about this movie, they're either full of shit or legally blind. I also just realized when putting this outline together that Trey edits his own films. That's awesome. Not a lot of directors do these days, and I specifically tried to find the editor because I thought this movie was really well put together, and he absolutely nails this edit. It's very clear why Trey and Abel would want to collaborate with each other, and even though the script itself is probably okay at best, Trey directs the absolute shit out of it. And I do think a lot of that goes, once again, to the visuals of this film. I can understand the critique why somebody would say it looks too music video-y a lot of the time. But I also think at the same time, the film uses that vibe to its advantage to deliver some really awesome, engaging moments. Like there's a 5-ish minute sequence in the middle of the movie where Jenna Ortega and The Weeknd are on this dreamish kind of date. And in that moment, I was like, holy shit, this film is elevating to that next level. Like I was really sitting there like, damn, this is one of the best movies of the year. And if the rest of the movie made me feel the way that sequence did, I totally would have told you like, hey, this is a top 5 movie of 2025 so far. You absolutely have to go out and see it. And to me, it just proves once again that Trey is one of the most underrated directors working right now. In terms of the cast, Abel is not my favorite actor, and I didn't even watch The Idol, and I think he's solid in the movie. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's great, but I also wouldn't go as far as Twitter saying this is the worst performance of the year. Like there's one scene in the movie where he's just going off on Jenna Ortega, and the entire theater I was in, including me, was laughing at it. It was kind of goofy, but it was funny, and it wasn't like cringy at all. But then Twitter posts that moment online, and everyone's like, look at how bad his acting is. I didn't think he was taking himself super seriously. I think he was having fun with the role in the moments he was supposed to have fun. Maybe I was the one getting played on that. Maybe he is a terrible actor, but I didn't think he felt miscast in his own movie. Jenna does something a little different than her normal goth girl shtick. I think she's excellent in the first half and decent in the second. And even though I didn't necessarily come out of the theater being like, oh my God, I'm a huge Jenna Ortega fan now, I do think I gained a bit more respect for her. Like I've always thought she is a good actress, but she is doing something a little bit different. And I really hope she starts taking on more and more unique roles as her career goes on because she is clearly super talented. Speaking of talented performers, Barry is one of the best out there. He's one of my favorites, has been that for quite a while now. Even though this will probably go on to be one of his more forgotten roles, he's just got such a distinct cinematic presence. Like there are very few people working right now that instantly the movie changes when they're in it. And it's no different even in a Weeknd movie like this. I wish he was in it more, but I think when he is on screen, he absolutely delivers what he has to. There are also some pretty big story moments that really worked on the audience. Like I could think of 2 very specific things that happened in the movie where my crowd gasped. I didn't because I could see it coming from a mile away because I've seen a ton of movies. But if that effect still happens and still gets a gasp out of somebody, and even I go like, ooh, even if I see it about to happen, I think that's something commendable. Not every movie pulls that off. And I feel bad a lot of you that haven't seen it can't watch it in a theater anymore because I do think that was the way this film should be experienced. I got to see it in Dolby and it just really showed off how good the music and sound design was working for the film. At this point, I guess you should just watch it with some noise canceling headphones or the biggest surround sound you could find unless you could rent a theater. I don't know what the solution is, but you can't watch this on your laptop with the laptop speakers. It's not going to do it justice. To address my biggest issue with the movie, though, I do probably have to go into some minor spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, this is a good time to get off the video and come back later after you've watched it for yourself, because I am somebody that does think the movie takes a dip in the third-ish act. It's kind of like the second half, but it's really the third act, when The Weeknd starts explaining his own music through Jenna Ortega's character. Like, the meta-ness of it, I did laugh at first. Like, I didn't think it was the cringiest thing in the world, but after a while, I just feel like the movie would have delivered a lot better for me in the end if it went more down the creepy stalker fan route versus being like, hey, Mr. Weeknd, were you the toxic one in your relationship? And I was really expecting a bit more by the end. Like, there was a moment where he starts walking down that hallway and you can see that the opening shot is about to be the ending shot. It's about to be one of those match beginning and endings. And I was just sitting there like, really? That's it? Like, there's nothing else? To me, it felt similar to how I felt about Sinners, where it just felt like 15 minutes were missing in the movie for whatever reason. And there was just so much buildup where I was like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. We're building to something sick. And then it kind of ends and you're like, oh, okay, I feel deflated now. And that's the thing. I walked out of Hurry Up Tomorrow saying, this is the best okay movie of 2025. I would not recommend it to a lot of people, especially like an older crowd. I don't think they would vibe with it. But if you're younger, if you just want to vibe out to a movie, if you're like a vibes person in a movie, which I'm usually not, usually vibes are a cool thing to have, but it's not the reason I go to movies. But if that's what you're looking for, mixed with some fun moments, I think Hurry Up Tomorrow definitely delivers on that. I think if you watch it with a couple people, you'll have a pretty good time. I just think there was some missed opportunities in terms of wrapping up the story, but it seems like Weeknd fans did like it. It got me listening to After Hours for 15 hours straight after I left the theater. So I guess it did something right in the end. And I would say it is a soft recommendation for me. So this is Chase. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you want to subscribe and keep hearing me talk about movies, you're definitely going to want to do that. So when I cover the 6ix9ine movie, you have my thoughts ready to go.